तो बैक पे नहीं रखता है क्या? बैक पे नहीं रखता है?
अरे पेपर में रख प्लीज।
अरे
उठना यार।
क्या ना उठना? मैंने पेन नहीं लाया, मेरा पाउच ही नहीं लाया, किसके पास पेन है?
आईडी में
क्या?
कुछ नहीं।
आईडी में?
So I think we got your books up. We are already done with the chapter on tissues. Are we done with the chapter check?
No.
Or how much we have done? Take out your books. Let's see how much we have finished with this chapter, tissues. You have a notebook with you? Yes. Pen up from your notebook. How much we have done with the chapter? We are discussing tissues. Last class, we were talking about tissues. Find out how much we have done. Take out your notebook, pen up. How much have we done? Tissues. What was the last topic we had completed on tissues?
No. Yeah.
Permanent tissues. The three types we have done. Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Are we done?
No, ma'am, we only did the meristematic tissues.
Yeah.
Achha, permanent.
We only wrote the definition of permanent tissues and we wrote the difference of meristematic and permanent.
Okay, fine.
And ma'am, in meristematic, we did all three types of tissues.
All the three types. So now that means we are to start with permanent tissues. What are their types and functions? We are going to study. Permanent tissues, under the concept of permanent tissues, now we'll be studying the different types of permanent tissues. So let us start. What will be the classification that we are going to study? I already gave you what are some of the characteristics of permanent tissues. What are some of the characteristics? If I talk about permanent tissues, cells do not show the process of division.
Yeah.
If I talk about permanent tissues, the cells are formed from meristematic.
Yeah, and form the bulk of the plant.
They form the bulk of the plant.
Cells have
Intercellular spaces. The cells have got enough intercellular spaces. The cells are loosely arranged. So this is what we studied as the general features of permanent tissues. Now, before we start with the discussion, when we start discussing about permanent tissues, first of all, we'll have to come across that there are two types of permanent tissues. One would be simple permanent tissues. Simple permanent. When we talk about simple permanent, there will be three types of simple permanent tissues that we have to talk about. We have to study. What are the three types of permanent tissues? Simple permanent tissues. The three types of simple permanent tissues that we try to understand would be parenchyma. We'll study parenchyma. We'll have to study collenchyma. Second type. And the third type, sclerenchyma. So this would be one where we are understanding first of all the three major types of permanent tissues. But I said these are simple permanent. We'll learn why are they called as such. And under the concept of parenchyma, again two more types we are going to study. One would be parenchyma and another would be collenchyma. So this is about the simple permanent tissues we are going to study. The second type of tissues we'll try to understand would be complex permanent, also known as compound permanent. Complex permanent tissues. Complex permanent tissues, and under complex permanent we'll learn two types. we'll learn two types. What are the two types? Xylem and phloem. What are the two types? Xylem and phloem. So this is what we are going to study. Xylem and phloem. So now, when we try understanding these different types of tissues, simple permanent. Why are they termed as such? Why simple permanent? Because they are made up of one type of cells. They are made up of only one type of cells. They are made up of only one type of cells. And here, if I have to talk about complex permanent, they are made up of two or more types of cells. They are made up of two or more types of cells. So first of all, let us try to understand this. I said,
You have like the same amount of functions.
no, functions are all different.
I'm not talking about similarities. Like if simple for which cell has more functions.
Nothing like that. Which cell has more function? That way, if I'm talking about which forms the bulk, which is majority present in the plant, or which type of tissues are mainly present in the plant, if you ask me that, then it is parenchyma. Parenchyma is majorly present in the plant. Parenchyma, the first type of tissues, are mainly present in the plant. These are also present in certain locations. These are present in certain locations. These are specific in certain regions. They are present. After this, we have to understand these two types, which are also forming a major bulk of the plant. So nothing like this, that which is forming a major function, but permanent tissues we would generally try to classify this way, that which type of tissue majorly forms the plant. So we'll try understanding what is the basic difference between simple permanent and complex permanent. So as I start, try to understand. Permanent tissues, you have to remember the major 4 or 5 features that we had studied, the general features that we had studied, and out of these general features, meaning if I am talking about all these types, in all these 7 types, the general features are more or less the same. The general features would remain the same. But now, again, we have to understand that based on where they are present, their functions would very much differ. So first of all, I said, what is the first thing to understand? Simple and complex. What is the difference between them? Simple permanent tissues, if you are talking about only tissues made up of one type of cells. Complex permanent type of tissues, if you are talking about tissues made up of 2 or more types of cells. Now, again, let us go back to the definition that we studied. What was the definition of tissues we had studied? Group of cells, similar or dissimilar in structure. Group of cells, similar or dissimilar in structure, but performing a particular function, performing a common function. That was the definition of the word tissues, if you remember. Group of cells, similar or dissimilar in structure, performing a common function. Now when I talk about group of cells, if it is simple, they all have the same type of structural feature. Group of cells, similar in structure. When I now say the second part of the definition, what did I say just now? Group of cells may be dissimilar also in structure. Yes, this is what we are talking about. Dissimilar in structure, but performing the same common function. So here we understand, if I'm talking about cells, if I'm talking about tissues may be similar in structure, dissimilar in structure, but they may have the same common function to play. Let us start with this simple permanent. Now, when we talk about simple permanent, now we are going to understand the differences. There are 3 types. So what are the 3 types? We are going to talk about parenchyma, we are going to talk about collenchyma, we are going to talk about sclerenchyma, the 3 major types of tissues. Now, if I have to understand that where are these type of tissues present, first of all, let us try to understand the diagram. Talk about the parenchyma tissues, and these particular parenchyma tissues we are more or less trying to understand that they are present in the root, they are present in the stem, they may be present in the leaf, they may form the fruit, they form the seed, they form the leaf. You talk about the seed inside the packing tissues, all parenchyma. You talk about the potato and the carrot and the beetroot and the mango as a fruit, all the packing substance inside is all parenchyma. Talk about the leaf and the root and the stem. Packing substance is all parenchyma. So if I am trying to understand that cellular structure, how would the cell structure be? Now let us try to come across the cell structure. You'll have to draw this diagram, but not now. First of all, you will understand. So we are trying to see that the cellular structure, how should this be? And in case of that, when we try to find out the section of these type of cells, the section would be something like this, where these are arrangement of cells. These are arrangement of cells this way. Certain properties that already you have studied. Be on time, huh? Next slide. One by one, you come on entering the class. You are disturbing the class. As it is, the class is only of 45 minutes, so it's very difficult to finish our portions. After that, once you enter the classroom, you take another 10 minutes to settle down. So 15 minutes to ऐसे ही गया. Now, when we are talking about the section of these type of tissues, let us learn how would the sections be. If it is a plant cell, what are the two protective membranes that the plant cell should be having?
Cell wall and cell wall.
Cell wall and the cell membrane. So yes, we'll have to draw the cell wall and the cell membrane. So first of all, we are drawing the two protective layers, the boundaries, the cell wall and the cell membrane. What is the other feature that a plant cell should have prominently present in the plant? Prominently present. What is the other feature? What is the other feature that a plant cell should have prominently? The central region of the plant cell. What does it contain? Yes. Who can tell me this? The central vacuole. A big vacuole should be there. So when I'm talking about, yes, a big vacuole should be there. So I'm talking about the section of these type of plants. I'm talking about the section of a particular type of region of the plant. I'm talking about maybe the section of the root. I'm talking about maybe the section of the leaf. I'm talking about maybe the section of any particular fruit, where the generalized structure would be something like this. The generalized structure would be this way. The generalized structure would be this way. Now what next? Yes, we have already drawn the cell wall and the plasma membrane, and then we have drawn the vacuole, and then we have drawn, now this is the cytoplasm that we talk about. And if it is a plant cell, it should be having a prominent nucleus. And the nucleus is always towards the margin. The nucleus is always towards the periphery. What else should it have? Now that we are talking about that it is a cell, it is a plant cell, of course, it should have the chloroplast as a cell organ. Plastid should be there. Plastid should be there. Okay, let us draw some plastids there. Let us draw some plastids. Some specialized cell organelle in adequate number should be there. The plastids should be there. So we are trying to fill in features of a plant cell, trying to understand that yes, these are plant cells. What are some of the parts to label? Certain parts to label, let us label this way. The first and the outer membrane is the cell wall. Next is, we talk about this is the cell membrane. What next? We have to understand the inner region filled with a large air bubble-like structure, but inside there is the sap present, water and minerals, sap. What about this? We are talking about the chloroplast. And next is, what about these spaces? These spaces are the intercellular spaces, a major feature at the moment you talk about permanent tissues. These are intercellular spaces. And next part, we are talking about a cell organelle, specialized, or now that we talk about the nucleus, and we talk about a specialized cell organelle, chloroplast. So these are the special features, how they would look like in a section. What are some of their features now? What are we to study? We have to study about the location and the function. We have to study location and function. First of all, we'll have to try understanding where are these type of cells present, the permanent tissues. Given. The permanent tissues, so for parenchyma, where are they present? They may be present in the root, they are present in the stem, they are present in the leaves. They may form the bulk of the fruit. They may form the bulk of the fruit. They may form the bulk of the seed. All these are parenchyma. What type of functions now they perform? If they are present in all these different type of locations, what type of functions are they performing? What type of functions do they perform? The functions that they perform would be some one or two functions you should always remember. The first function is forms the packing substance. It forms the packing tissue. It forms the packing substance. Okay, what else? This particular type of parenchyma, as I said, yes, it forms the bulk of the plant, forms the packing substance. Apart from that, it also helps in storage function. Storage. Now that if I talk about the potato and the beetroot and the carrot, what are they storing? Food in the form of starch or other different type of nutrients. So if I have to talk about this, yes, associated with the packing substance, they also help in support. Third is storage of starch. Storage of food in the form of starch. Storage of starch, another particular function of the parenchyma. Now, when we are talking about parenchyma, something more that we have to finish discussing is what is erenchyma, what is chlorenchyma then? Now, to talk about erenchyma and chlorenchyma, if I talk about erenchyma, the cell or a single cell of the parenchyma tissue, just now I said, if I am drawing a specific cell of the parenchyma present in the root, stem, leaf, etc., I should say that they are having in the vacuole what? Sap. In the vacuole, what is there? Sap. What is sap? The water and the dissolved salts. The water and the dissolved salts that the plants take in from the soil. Will this be the same? Now, if I am talking about that, this is a leaf of the plant, something like the palm and the mango. The mango and the palm and the coconut. And if I compare the same part of the plant, leaf of a mango and leaf of a lotus, will the structure of the parenchyma or the arrangement of the parenchyma cells be exactly same? Mostly it will be same, but there will be one major difference. What will be the difference? The structure that I am showing you here may be the structure of the internal structure of the mango leaf or the stem or the root. But if I talk about the lotus leaf, no, there has to be a difference. What will be the difference there? In that case, if I have to draw now the structure of a lotus leaf, then I should make it very clear that this space is not majorly filled or not at all filled with sap, but it is filled with air. What am I trying to tell you is that if I talk about any aquatic plants, yes, in the aquatic plants also the leaves are parenchyma, the roots have parenchyma, the stem has parenchyma. Then what is the special feature of the parenchyma in those aquatic plants? The special feature of the parenchyma there is the cells are not filled with sap. Rather, the cells have vacuole and the vacuole is filled with air. That is the reason the plant parts are so light. That is the reason the plant parts don't sink. That is the reason they can easily float on the surface of the water. So as I said, I talk about lotus and a mango. Both are, or if I talk about the lotus bulb and the mango seed, I put it in the water. The lotus bulb will float, but the mango seed will sink down. Why? Yes, they are all made up of parenchyma. Both these are made up of parenchyma. But what is the difference? The cells of the mango is heavier because every cell has got adequate amount of that liquid known as sap. On the other hand, the cells of the lotus or any other aquatic plant you talk about, the cells of the lotus or any other aquatic plant you last bench will go and sit down. Not disturbing anybody now. The cells of the lotus or when you talk about any other aquatic plant, the cells will be having adequate amount of air in the vacuole, making the cells very light so that they can easily float. So if the cells, now I'm talking about a modified form. What are the modified forms of parenchyma? Let us try to understand this. The modified forms of parenchyma. What is the first one that we are talking about? The first one that we are talking about is erenchyma. Let us learn one special feature and their function. Parenchyma, where are they present? Parenchyma forms the bulk of the aquatic plants. Bulk of aquatic plant. They will be present in the bulk of the plant. But in case of aquatic plants, what are some aquatic plants we can understand? We can talk about the lotus, we can talk about the water lily, we can talk about the water hyacinth. So all these examples. So in all these aquatic plants, what is the special feature? The vacuole of the cells, are air filled. The vacuole of the cells are air filled. What is their function? Function, what are you supposed to write? Function you have to write to provide buoyancy, meaning making it lighter. To provide buoyancy to the plant parts. To provide buoyancy to the plant parts. So this is what we have to understand when we talk about parenchyma. What is parenchyma? Parenchyma is supposed to have these basic specializations. So a common type of parenchyma tissue and parenchyma, how are they different? Now you understand that yes, of course they form the bulk, but how are they different? They don't have the sap, but they have air in the vacuole, which is actually making them float on the surface of the water. I talk about the second type now. What is the second type that we are trying to understand for parenchyma? The second type that we are trying to understand, so for the modified forms I am talking about, what is the second modified form? Chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma. Now chlorenchyma, majorly we have to understand, it forms the bulk of the leaves and young green stem. Leaves and young green stem. Now why do I write this? When I talk about the leaves, what is their color? Green. I talk about the young green stem. What is their color? Green. Now, I already said that if it is a plant, the stem, root, leaf, fruit, flower, all is basically made up of parenchyma. But when I talk about the leaves and the green stem majorly, when I talk about the leaves and the green stem majorly, I get to see that yes, the type of tissue is parenchyma, but these parenchymatous tissues have a special feature. What is the special feature that they have? The special feature that they have is, no, here they are all filled with sap. But apart from that, they also have a special feature, that is, they are rich in chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are present in large numbers. Now, if chloroplast is present in large number, now we already know that the leaf is green in color because of the presence of chloroplast. What type of tissue? Parenchyma. But if I talk about the parenchyma of a stem and the parenchyma of a leaf, what is the difference in the cells? I'm going to find out. If it is the parenchyma of the root, here the cells have chloroplast. If I talk about the parenchyma cells of the stem and the root, are we supposed to find chloroplast there? Of course not. You are academically zero and techno savvy you are. So what is going to happen with you? I really am worried. You have come a long way till the 9th standard, but academically you are not even till the 2nd standard. Sorry to tell you this. What language did you speak now? Are you not sure that once you enter the classroom, either your phone has to be switched off या तो silent? तो silent में बजता कैसे? कौन सा फोन है तुम्हारा जो silent में भी इतना जोर से बजता है? कौन सा फोन है वो भी तुमको नहीं पता? हाँ, कैसे बजा वो नहीं पता. देखो ये सब चीज के लिए और मेरा 5 मिनट गया. हाँ, अरे when you are inside the classroom, make it a point कि अभी और कुछ मुझे सोचना नहीं है. I should at least study for some time. क्लास में अगर समझ जाओगे घर पे जाके मेहनत कम हो जाता है. That is very simple to understand. ये जो चैप्टर मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ, this is not rocket science that I am teaching you. Very simple chapter this is. But still students will not be able to get full marks. क्यों? Concentration नहीं रखते हो क्लास में. That's a problem, no? Now, so what I am saying is, parenchyma, when I talk about parenchyma of the root and the stem and the leaf, difference क्या होगा? Cell of the parenchyma of the root and leaf. What will be the difference? If I talk about the parenchyma of the stem, there will not be any chloroplast. It is not green in color, no? But if I have to talk about the parenchyma of the leaf, it has to be green in color. It is green in color, we know that. For a young stem, green in color, we know that. Why green? Because it has got chloroplast. So if the cell is having chloroplast, then what should be the major function? The major function that it should perform is to undergo the process of photosynthesis. To undergo the process of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis would be the main function. Understanding? So if I'm talking, bolo.
And if the stem is also in green color, so that stem also performs the
Photosynthesis. But the stem is not going to remain green for a long time. After some time, the type of parenchyma cells are going to get changed. And the number of the chloroplasts will keep on. Now the new cells will not have adequate amount of chloroplast. And the parenchyma will be the type of the normal parenchyma, general structure of parenchyma. So what did we learn here? Otherwise, when we talk about parenchyma of the root and the leaf and etc., any part of the plant, they should normally have this structure, this particular feature. But if I talk about the parenchyma of the leaf, what is the special feature? They will be rich in chloroplast. Then what type of function are they supposed to perform? Photosynthesis. And if I'm talking about the parenchyma of the aquatic plants, what is the special feature they are supposed to have?
They vacuum stored air instead of
Vacuole should be having air instead of sap to make it, to make the leaf cells or the stem cells lighter so that they can float on the surface of the water so that they don't sink. So these are the special forms of the parenchyma. What are the two forms we learned just now? Parenchyma, chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma. Now we are going to talk about the second type of permanent tissues, simple permanent tissues. And what will be that? We are going to talk about cholenchyma now, the second type. Cholenchyma. Let us see what are some of the differences between parenchyma and cholenchyma. In terms of the cell structure, in terms of the shape, in terms of the features and functions and locations, all, there will be a lot of differences. Now, if I'm talking about a specific section of the cholenchyma cells, then they should more or less appear this way, where again, first of all, to understand that where do we find them? Where do we find these cells? Where do we find these cells? If it is cholenchyma, we should majorly be finding them in the stalk of the leaves. We should majorly be finding them in the stalk of the leaves. Stalk of the leaves. What is the meaning of stalk of the leaves? We are talking about the ends of the leaves which join with the branches. Or from the branch a flower develops. So the base of the stalk. So that means if I am talking about this is my plant and here a leaf and from here a flower. So where am I trying to understand that cholenchyma is present? Cholenchyma is present here. Cholenchyma is present here. Or even if there's a branch, if I'm talking about that a branch here and then some more twigs are there, then yes, cholenchyma is present here. Cholenchyma is present here. Understood? So now, are the cell structures exactly same? No, there's a little bit of difference. Let us try to find out where the difference is. So if it is a plant cell, we are very much sure that we have to draw the cell wall and the cell membrane. We'll have to draw the cell wall and the cell membrane. And after that, we also talk about the vacuole. Now, in this case of collenchyma, is the vacuole filled with air or filled with sap? What do you think? So, I just now said that they are present in the branches and the twigs. Sap. It should be rich in sap. So, yes, we are drawing the vacuole here, and yes, the vacuole is filled with the sap. If it is a plant cell, it should have a large, big vacuole, a nucleus at one region, and then the cytoplasm. They may not have adequate number of chloroplasts because we are talking about the branches and the twigs, you know, the petiole. No, they are not green in color, no. And okay, we have got the cytoplasm here. Then next is what? Which one is the cell wall? This is the cell wall. Which one is the cell membrane? This is the cell membrane. Where is the vacuole? This remains the vacuole. Do we have the chloroplast here? Not much. Intercellular spaces. Can we see intercellular spaces in this figure?
Yes.
Intercellular spaces are there. So intercellular spaces always should be there if I am talking about a permanent tissue. If I am talking about a permanent tissue, intercellular spaces should be there. What else? Are the nucleus present? Yes, a single nucleus should be there if it is a plant cell. No. Now let us try to understand location. Kahan pe? Where are they present? At the base of the stalk. At the base of the stalk. At the base of the stalk of leaves. Base of the stalk of leaves. Whereas petiole of the branches or the petiole. Petiole itself means the base of those stalk of flowers or the petiole. Whereas at the base of the branches, Now that I said that these are some of the locations of collenchyma, did you ever, if now or earlier, do you ever remember that you had been hanging yourself on the branch of a tree? कभी नहीं किया? किया है? नहीं किया कभी? अरे, you missed out something. How many of you have played? Did you play or not? Hanging on the branch of a tree joyfully? Very good. Yes, girls? No? Never. Some of us, we remain deprived of that. And those of you who have done, you have enjoyed it. No, such a fun it is. So when we talk about hanging yourself on the branch of a tree and swinging joyfully, did the branch break? झूठ मत बोलो, सच बोलो. Did the branch break?
And some weak branches.
Generally, and with your weight must not be 20 kgs also. The branch should not break. कौन सा पेड़ में तुम लटक रहे थे पता नहीं. Mango में. The mango itself was a weak plant there. Generally, when we talk about the branches don't break unless and until it's a weak branch. Yes, as you said, unless and until weak branch है तो generally नहीं टूटेगा. Because these branches, they have got a considerable amount of strength that they can, a particular type of weight that they can resist. But yes, if I'm understanding that if a 5.5 feet person and a strong built person tries hanging off, of course the branch will break. No, we are talking about more than the strength that the branch can resist. That is different. But when we are talking about children playing there, apart from that, if I talk about, say, suppose now it's a big tall tree for me, and I'm not that tall. So what I try to do, I want to pluck flowers. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to pulling those branches and pluck those flowers from there. The moment I leave the branches, are these branches going back? Yes, they go back. Now that again, when there is a mild storm and a breezy day, what do we come across? That the plants are shaking, no, right, left, they are shaking. And the flowers and the twigs, they're constantly shaking. Do they immediately break? No, they break only when there's a storm. When the force is too big, too much, that they cannot resist, then they break. So what is the summary? The summary is these particular parts of the plant, whether you talk about the twigs and the branches, you talk about the leaf stalk and the petiole, they all can resist some amount of pressure. And they also make these parts of the plant flexible. As I said, we can pull it, we can hang on them, we can pull them, and ultimately they go back. So we would say, what is the function of such type of tissues? What is the function? Function is providing flexibility. Providing flexibility to the plant part. So what should you write as the function? The function would be providing flexibility to the plant parts. Come and sit here. Not at all attentive in the class. This has to be brought to your parents' notice. Because ultimately they'll get the shock of their lives when your test performances are bad. And I don't want to explain anything at that time. Remember, why are you coming here? Before you enter this classroom, ये अपने आप को mentally, physically prepare करो. मैं इस classroom में क्यों जा रही हूँ? Now, function is what? Providing flexibility. Providing flexibility to plant parts. Flexibility to plant parts. So we have already studied two types of permanent tissues. What are the two types of permanent tissues we studied? Parenchyma and collenchyma. And we had already understood that where are they present? What are their functions? Okay? Where are they present? What are their functions? The third type of tissue that we are going to talk about would be sclerenchyma. Listen carefully. After this, I'm going to give you questions to write. Sclerenchyma. Now, where are they present? Let me write down the location first. Where are they present? Sclerenchyma. Now, the sclerenchyma type of tissue that we are going to understand would be the most toughest type of tissues, hardest type of tissues, and completely dead. Meaning, when I say completely dead, meaning they don't even have the capacity of repair. Cell division तो हो ही नहीं सकता, repair भी नहीं हो सकता. अच्छा, location पहले लिखते हैं some location. Where are they present on the seed coat? Where are they present on the husk of coconut? Where are they present on the jute? The fibers of the jute or sclerenchyma. Then where are they present? I may talk about the peel of nuts, etc., etc. Meaning, you have to understand that the outer, or if I may also add something more which you will remember much better, the bark of the stem, all sclerenchyma, the bark, the outer dead region of the plant, bark, all sclerenchyma. The harder coat of the coconut, sclerenchyma, the rope of the jute that we understand, sclerenchyma it is. The outer covering of the peanut, walnut, any type of the seed coat that you know, the outer dead covering of the rice, all parenchyma, sclerenchyma. The basic structure of these type of tissues are something this way. The basic structure would be something this way, where the individual cells are spindle shaped, known to be like this. The individual cells are known to be spindle shaped and quite thick they are as compared to the other two types of tissues that we have studied. Now here, when I talk about the cell wall, yes, this is the cell wall, but the cell wall is very thick. The cell wall is very thick. Now we are going to compare and write some more features. The inner region of the cells are vacant, and this is what is known as lumen. And overall, the cell structures are not rectangular as this two that we have drawn. No, overall the cell structures are spindle-shaped, tapering types. Spindle-shaped they are. Now let us write that if we try to understand some specialized features, what do we write here? Yes, they have a cell wall, but then the cell wall is thick and made of lignin. What is lignin? A type of a sugar, very tough, which makes the outer coat of the bark and the these are also present in the veins of the leaf. So all these structures are very hard, you know, the seed coat and all very hard. So here you have to remember that the cell wall is made up of a specialized type of a substance known as lignin. I come this side now. What about the cell wall here of the parenchyma and the collenchyma? The cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cell walls are made up of cellulose. This always you have studied, no? What is cellulose? It's a type of a sugar. Acha. Abhi, is there any difference between the cell wall structure of the parenchyma and the collenchyma? Yes, there is. Where we are saying that if I talk about the cell wall of the parenchyma, The cell wall is generally thin and living. The cell wall is thin and living and just made up of cellulose, nothing else. What about this side? The cell wall is thick, comparatively thick and living but living, thick and living. But there is an additional deposit of cellulose on the corners. On the corners, there will be an additional deposit of cellulose this way. The corners of the four corners of a cell will have additional deposits of cellulose. The four corners of any cell, any cell will have an additional deposit of cellulose and hence the flexibility. Just now I said the moment we talk about the branches and the twigs, we can pull them to a great extent. They can resist the force of the wind to a great extent, and that is because of the special property that they have in their cell wall. And what is that special property? Extra deposition of cellulose on the corners, four corners of the cell. जो इसमें नहीं है, जो parenchyma में नहीं होता है. The parenchyma, the entire cell wall is made up of simple cellulose. Collenchyma, yes, cell wall is made of cellulose, but corners में additional deposits of cellulose होता है. That's the reason the cells are, or the entire tissue is stretchable, flexible होता है. That's why. But is there anything like this there in the sclerenchyma? No, in the sclerenchyma, the cell wall is never made of cellulose. It is made of a new substance altogether known as lignin, which makes the cell very, very hard. Very hard. Like the bark is hard, no? The vein of the leaf. If I talk about अगर ये एक leaf है, this is called the vein. This part is hard or soft? Hard. The outer covering of the peanut, hard की soft है? Hard है. The outer husk of the rice, hard की soft है? सब hard है ना? All these structures that I'm naming, all are hard structures. क्यों? Because they are fully dead. Are they made up of cellulose? What are they made up of? Lignin. Lignin. What is the spelling? Lignin. Lignin. Fatapat. Let us write some questions. Now what?
What is the seed coat?
Seed coat is made up of lignin. Sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma. So function we are going to learn. What about the function? What about column banao? Let us write some questions. Function of sclerenchyma. Protection is one function. Mechanical strength is another function. Mechanical strength. Protectional mechanical strength. Chalo, fatafat. The first question. Write three differences between parenchyma, collenchyma. Fast. Three differences between parenchyma and collenchyma. अरे फटाफट करो. अभी वो पेज सिलेक्ट कर रहा है किसमें से लिखना है. अरे three differences between parenchyma and collenchyma. फटाफट टेबल बनाओ. Parenchyma and collenchyma. Spelling check करो. No mistake in the spelling. Parenchyma, collenchyma. Fast. टेबल बनाओ. क्या लिखेंगे first point? First point क्या लिखेंगे? Parenchyma, collenchyma. First difference क्या लिखेंगे? Yes.
That it has extra
लिखो first point. फटाफट. First point लिखो. First point. First point, under parenchyma you write cell wall is made of cellulose. Cell wall is made of cellulose. Evenly. Cell wall is made of cellulose evenly. Collenchyma में क्या लिखोगे?
Ma'am, cell wall is made up of additional.
Cell wall is made of cellulose with extra deposits at the corners. Collenchyma में लिखो cell wall is made of cellulose. Cell wall is made of cellulose with extra deposits at the corners. I repeat. Cell wall is made of cellulose with extra deposits at the corners. Is that clear? No? First point. अभी second point क्या लिखेंगे?
Vacuoles have air and vacuoles have
नहीं, वो तो parenchyma की modified form we had studied. Remember, ये है colon and I told you that was chlorine. That is different.
It has less chloroplast.
No,
the
I did
cell
not
wall
explain you
is
this.
thin and parenchyma.
That was chlorine-chyma. देखो सो रहे थे ना?
No.
This is colon-chyma and जो chloroplast वाला concept जो मैंने सिखाया था वो था chlorine-chyma. अरे
Okay, mama.
ओके क्या ओके सेकंड पॉइंट क्या लिखेंगे डिफरेंस लिखो नेक्स्ट सेल वॉल इज थिन एंड लिविंग फॉर पैरेन्काइमा सेल वॉल इज थिन एंड लिविंग सेल वॉल इज थिन एंड लिविंग और कोलेनकाइमा में क्या लिखोगे
Cell wall is thick and
thick and living very good cell wall is thick and living cell wall is thin and living and the other side you write cell wall is thick and living. Now third point you write about the function. You can write location also but majorly function would be a point to write. Function likho after under parenchyma forms the packing substance in the plant forms the packing substance in the plant forms the packing substance in the plant. Packing substance forms the packing substance in the plant and the other side likho for colenchyma you write provides flexibility to plant parts provides flexibility to plant parts ठीक है provides flexibility to plant parts. Now take 5 questions फटाफट लिखोगे faster than a rocket. 5 questions homework लिखना है.
plant parts.
Provides flexibility. बोलो. Third difference. Third parenchyma में लिखो. Forms the packing substance of the plant. लिखा? Forms the अरे ये अभी भी ऑनलाइन मोड में चल रहा है बात ही नहीं करता ऐसे दिखाता है अरे वो ऑनलाइन खत्म है अभी ऑफलाइन है हम लोग बात करो ना कांट यू टॉक व्हाट इज योर मदर टंग मराठी में भी बोलो मुझे समझ में आएगा इंग्लिश बोलो हिंदी बोलो इससे ज्यादा और कुछ मत बोलना नहीं समझ में आता हाँ फॉर्म्स द पैकिंग सब्सटेंस ऑफ द प्लांट स्क्लेरेनकाइमा में ये पॉइंट कोलेनकाइमा में ये पॉइंट लिखना है चलो होमवर्क क्वेश्चंस नंबर 1 तुम ये लिखो उसके बाद यू कैन टेक द क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम द लेटर नंबर 1 नेम द सेल वॉल सब्सटेंस ऑफ sclerenchyma name the cell wall substance of sclerenchyma name the cell wall substance of sclerenchyma number 2 एक लाइन गैप छोड़ दो बाद में आंसर फिल कर लेना हाँ नंबर 2 mention two locations of colenchyma number 3 what is the special function of parenchyma Number 4 is just a fill in the blanks question. Number 4, parenchyma cells having large number of chloroplasts of chloroplasts are called dash. Number 5 also, fill in the blanks question. Fill in the blanks question.
Ma'am, large number of
Chloroplasts are called dash. Okay, last question likho. Last question likho. Tissues present in the bark of stem. Tissues present in the bark of stem and veins of leaves and veins of leaves are bark of stem and veins of leaves are dash. Bark of stem and veins of leaves are dash. Fill in the blanks. Last two. Done? Did you get all of you? Got the 5 questions? So this 5 questions try as homework. Okay.